there. I see so many people I want to talk to. If you don't know, hi. Welcome to A Moment in Time with Taylor. Thank you, Craig, for the super hearts on Periscope. This is being streamed live on Periscope and on YouTube. I am a live streamer. I go live on Periscope every single day, 7 days a week for 3 hours a day. And it's so hard for me not to just chat with everyone in the chat right now. I see Craig, I see Mark, I see beautiful Princess Jess, I see Victoria and Rhodey and Greg. Greg actually does want to probably talk about Survivor, so why don't you give me some time to just spit out all the Survivor stuff. Oh my god, Victoria watched Survivor tonight. Yes, that makes me so happy. Yes. Well, I don't know if you knew what the heck was going on, because if you haven't been watching it all season, you might not know, but you've been watching my recaps, so you might have a glimpse of kind of what's going on here. So if you want to chat about something not Survivor related, maybe DM me or just save your comments till the end. I'm going to try to spit out everything I want to say about this episode for replay viewers, and then we'll get to the conversational, chatty discussion, normal live streaming stuff towards the end, if that's okay with you guys. Greg, thank you for the super heart. Seems like that's okay with Greg. Greg said Tony is a boss. Dude, I mean, those are Boston Rob's exact words from tonight. Sitting in the jury, he said Tony is a boss, and he was so right about that. Tony played an amazing game last week, out of nowhere, just made himself the biggest threat in the game, and then tonight pulled off something amazing again. So let's recap the episode. This is how I like to go through it. So when I watch the episode, I take a lot of notes, 2 pages of notes tonight, and I do kind of like a play-by-play and my thoughts and reactions to what was going on, and kind of like a recap, review, but also a discussion. So if you guys are talking Survivor related, feel free to comment away. So at the beginning, Ben and Sarah are pissed about being blindsided. Now technically Kim and Denise were also blindsided, but they didn't care as much because they already were kind of on the side of Jeremy and Michelle, but they didn't think they had the numbers, so they had flipped on Jeremy and Michelle. And we'll see how that plays out. I didn't see... we'll see. We'll talk about that in a minute. Hey there, Sarah! I watched it. So Sarah was so pissed that she says to Tony, and it was Tony's blindside that was orchestrated, and she says to Tony, if this ruins my game, I don't want you to ever speak to me ever again. And I think I got the impression that she was talking outside of the game, and that was intense. He even said, like, this is war, this is the game, this is how it is, blindsides happen, this is Survivor, this is how the game is played, and he said, put your man panties on and get to war, which I thought was pretty great. So, can you tell Ed I say hi, since you can't comment in here anymore? Then... Wait, what did I... Oh, I wrote the wrong word. I think it was while I was watching it. I wrote Tony told Ben about the blind side. No, Tony told Ben about his idol. Obviously, Ben knew about the blind side because it had just happened. So Tony told Ben about his idol, that he had an idol. So he was building up trust with with Ben, and Ben says, he's been telling me all his advantages and everything, but still I'm kind of wary because I did just get blindsided by a plan that he orchestrated. At the same time, Ben was very close with Sophie, who got voted out last week, so he obviously couldn't really be included in that plan because he might have blown it up, so they didn't need his vote for it anyway. Then Tony got pooped on in the middle of the night after the tribal council. Him and Ben are chatting, and boop, right on his arm, and he goes, what the hell was that? And Ben goes, you just got pooped on. And he said, by what? And Ben said, by a bird. And Tony said, what kind of bird is in the night? Are you sure that was a bird? And then Ben's like, I don't know, maybe it was a bat. And Tony goes, is that a good thing or a bad thing? And Ben said it was karma. Taylor thinks, I think that it was good luck. And I think that turned out to be pretty true at the end of the episode as well. So I got pooped on by a bird yesterday, and my boyfriend did too. Me and my boyfriend were doing a partner meditation where I lay my head on his stomach and we laid out in the grass in the backyard. The sun was out, it was beautiful, and we meditated for 15 minutes. And about halfway through the meditation, we got pooped on. All right, Greg, awesome. I got pooped on right here on my side, and my boyfriend's hand was right here, so it hit him right in the arm. The bird hit 2-for-1 special, hit both of us with one poo, and we decided it was good luck. And then Tony got pooped on by a bird, and I felt totally connected to him, and I said, that's good luck as well. If you have a question, you don't have to type the word question, you could just ask a question. Hey, Matt. Some people say it's good luck. I've been pooped on before. I love the beach, and it inspired me to write a book I've been thinking about writing. Not Tony, but this is kind of a digression, that you can't enjoy the outdoors without risking getting pooped on. And that's just the reality, okay? It might happen. You might get stung by a bee or whatever, but who wants to stay inside all the time just to avoid getting pooped on by a bird or something? It's really not that big of a deal. So, moving on. Then the next morning, the next day, Tony makes a spy nest. So he's pretty infamous, or not infamous, I don't know, famous in the game of Survivor for making little spy shacks, areas near the well where he can listen to conversations that happen. And now he took it up into the tree. He climbed up into a tree and he kind of buried himself in there. And Sarah helped him out a little bit and said, "Nah, I can't see you at all. It's perfect. It's great." We didn't see him use it at all, but he made it, and it's a Tony kind of thing. And it was pretty cool. He's a very kind of busybody type person, which is really fun. He makes for really good TV. Then Ben is still refusing to talk to Jeremy the next day. All salty, all pissed off. Jeremy said, when we started this game, it was like it was like final two kind of deal, right? And then now it's like he doesn't even want to speak to me. They have some common, like Tony tried to make this common connection, right? Kind of like public servants. So you have Tony, who's a cop, you have Jeremy, who's a firefighter, you have Ben, who was in the military. So he's trying to kind of build this coalition of, I don't mean to make this politically incorrect, but like manly men, right? Hey, Smitty. Physical laborers who work for the government. All right. So Kim, smartly decides that she wants Tony out because Tony is now the best player in the game. He orchestrated this blindside, which was also against her, and he's killing it. I mean, he is doing so amazing. He's so impressive. It is beyond belief, the level that he's playing at. I love it. I'm really loving watching this so much. And Kim is smart, and Kim plays really well too, so it's really fun to watch her play too. Now, last week before Tony pulled his stunt, I said that Kim and Sophie were playing the best game. Tony decides, Tony must have agreed with me because last week he went for Sophie, and then this week Kim went for him. So, as you can imagine, well, let's get it. We'll get there. So Kim wants Tony out. She gets Michelle, Ben, Nick, and then maybe Jeremy. They didn't really show her sitting and chatting with Jeremy about this plan to blindside Tony, but you would assume that he would be in on it. And at the same time, Kim and Denise had flipped on Jeremy just the tribal council before. So Jeremy is probably actually feeling more trusting of Tony at this point because he knows now he can't trust Kim and Denise. But at the same time, Tony is more likely to win, I think. But there was a lot of talk this episode, and I want to know what you guys think, that Jeremy is like a shoo-in to win the game, that if he gets to the end, he's going to win. I don't know why that is, so I'm thinking they must be thinking jury-wise. Because game-wise, Tony is going to win the game. Kim was up there, Sophie was up there too, in my opinion. Sophie is gone as of last week, and we'll get to the next part. So I thought she was playing really great. And I'm obviously already giving it away. If you saw, hopefully you already saw it, because I don't think the spoiler should be me talking about it. You should go watch the episode and then come back and watch my replay. So then they pan over to the edge of extinction, and it is deja vu for some of these folks. They have to do a crazy physical endurance type challenge, just like they did with the firewood, where they had to go up all those steps and get one piece of firewood at a time until they had 20 pieces of firewood each and stack them all by the shelter. Hey Nelson, good to see you. I think you told me that before, Smitty. Hey Butter. Or should I say Mustbusters. Tony's playing everyone. You want Tony and Denise gone. I want Denise gone too. I'm really impressed with Tony right now, honestly. Thank goodness you're back. Thank you, Nelson. I wasn't gone for very long. I was only gone for like an hour while I watched Survivor, but thanks for appreciating the fact that I'm back. All right, so this time they have to do the same thing, except it's coconuts. Instead of wood, they have to go bring the coconuts one at a time from the backside of the island. They have to walk over all these crazy rocks and basically through the tide and back to their shelter and pile these coconuts up. They each have to do 20 coconuts themselves, one at a time. So 20 individual trips, just like the wood. The catch on this one is that everyone who completes the challenge by sundown wins 2 fire tokens, which is double what they got last time. But another little catch is that it's only the first 6 people to complete it. So the first 6 people to complete it by sundown win 2 fire tokens each. That means that 5 people do not get any fire tokens for the challenge. Plus, they're probably trying and exerting a lot of energy trying to get that, right? Roberta, thank you for the super hearts. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Nelson. It's going well. You got here a little late. We're going to try to talk Survivor, so if you have Survivor stuff you want to chat about that. If not, just hold your comments to the end so that we can make this a nice replay broadcast for people who do want to hear about the topic at hand. Hey, Ben. Well, okay, I don't know that he failed the challenge badly, but Boston Rob started out quick. He started out strong. He was the first one to the pile of coconuts, first one back. He's hustling. They're all like running in the beginning, which is, to me, just seems crazy, but they were running. And then Rob goes a little too fast and loose and slips on some really horrible looking sharp rocks and busts his elbow open, and there's just blood gushing down his arm. You know, he doesn't wrap it or clean it or anything. He just keeps going. He looks like this warrior's got blood all down his arm. And he said he knew that was it for him. Like, it just hurt really bad. He couldn't shake it off, and he wasn't able to finish in the top 6. However, he did finish it out. So everyone else who didn't get in the top 6, they just stopped. They just said, well, I'm not getting any fire tokens, so I'm not going to keep going. But Rob was determined and committed, and he just kept going and kept going and kept going. And Amber cried a little bit, and that was kind of emotional. It was really sweet to see that. Amber is his wife, who he met playing in a season of Survivor before, which is just so cool. They have 4 kids together. It's a really, really awesome love story, Survivor love story. And she was, you know, to see him doing that, going and going and going when he had nothing to gain anymore, just basically a matter of pride and something to prove. And he said it felt to him like he would be giving up, and he just didn't want to give up. There was a challenge, he finished the challenge no matter what. So whatever, fine by me. It's going to tire him out. It's going to make him less likely to win his way back into the game. So be it, I guess. So the first person to win was Natalie. And that's not too surprising because Natalie is a CrossFit trainer for her business, for her livelihood. Like, when she's not playing Survivor, she's a CrossFit trainer. So she is a machine. I mean, this girl is so strong. She was the first person to be voted to the edge of extinction. She's been on there longer than anyone else, which means she's gone without food, without reward challenges, without, you know, anything for longer than anybody else. And she is still winning an endurance challenge, which is amazing. However, I thought more surprising was Sophie, who came in a very close second place, but surprisingly, even more surprisingly than that, was that she was in first pretty much the entire time. Her and Natalie were neck and neck the whole time. Natalie just said right at the end, she knew she had a little bit more in her tank, so she just pushed it really hard and kind of just passed Sophie so that she could win. But that's super impressive about Sophie. I mean, Sophie is not a CrossFit trainer. I don't know what Sophie does. Can we look that up? I have the cast up here. Let's see. You guys see it? Yeah. So let's see what Sophie does. We have Sophie Georgina Clark. Occupation healthcare consultant. She likes soccer, skiing. Okay. And walking. So she is she's an athletic, physical, active type person. So that's pretty cool. But still very, very impressive. Now, then third place was Yule, who I have my money on. That's who I want to win. And I've been on Edge of Extinction for a while now, and sometimes I kind of forget about him, and I'm like, oh yeah, Yule. That'd be cool if Yule won his way back in. Parvati had mentioned that Yule's really strong, so I still have a little bit of faith in him to win his way back in. You like my Paradise shirt? Thank you. This is from Vicky. Do you know NJ Perry Mama on here? She's my Periscope mom. She buys me cool clothes and sends me cool clothes sometimes. And this is from her. So then then up next, Parvati and Tyson came together. I think they were like holding hands, and it was like, you know, they're kind of from the same era of Survivor, and I think they're friends outside of the game, and it was just cool, like they brought it home together. And then it was neck and neck between Wendell and Danny, but Danny just couldn't quite get there, and she even fell, and Wendell was just, he already had that edge on her. He was already too far ahead of her, and Wendell came in 6th. So those are the people who got the fire tokens. That means Amber, Rob, Danny, Ethan, and Adam did not get any fire tokens. The other 6 each got 2 fire tokens each. And I think I forgot it was 2 fire tokens each. I wrote 1 on my notes. Okay. Go Wendell. Sarah wants Wendell to win. Wendell's not the most popular guy this season, but, you know, more power to him. So then they go back to the real game, okay? So that's Edge of Extinction. Now we're back to the real game. Nick he's like trying to figure out, okay, who do I want to bring to the end here? There's a lot of chaos, right? Ben and Jeremy are having their feud. Sarah and Tony are having their feud. This is good. This is good for my game. There's a little bit of chaos. There's some tension, and now's my chance to kind of make some moves. And he's like, well, who do I want to go to the end with? And he makes a final 3 with Michelle and Denise. Now, I think Michelle is a pretty good person to bring to the end. At the same time, I thought Michelle played a surprisingly good game this season, including tonight. So I talked about how she made up that really good lie to Tony last week when she said she didn't have any fire tokens, which was true, but she told him that she had an advantage on the edge, which is actually not true, and her lie was very believable. I thought she played that perfectly. Hi, Todd. Hello, Troll Daddy. Okay, guys, if you want to comment about Survivor, great. If not, I'm really trying to just focus on Survivor so the people that watch this on the replay can enjoy the recap, and we can chat and hang out and party afterwards. Ed, you're causing a lot of drama in my scope right now, just so you know. By being in that other scope, a bunch of people keep coming in here and commenting about it, so just so you know. Okay, so a little bit distracting. All right. Maybe you need a troll account or a secret account to go do those kinds of things. Okay, so what was interesting is that Nick, and I had mentioned this, but Nick said that Jeremy, Sarah, and Tony would beat him at the end. So Tony would beat anyone at the end. Sarah? Why? Jeremy? Why? And Nick said, this was Nick. Someone else was saying too that Jeremy was, Ben was also saying that Jeremy was this huge threat. I don't really see how that is. I feel like Ben is less of a threat. I think Ben was a better choice for Nick's final 3 than Denise, because Denise got Sandra out, so she does have that resume, plus she won a lot of individual immunities. She's won 2 or 3 this season so far, and she kind of always has that underdog. That's kind of how she won last time, was that she had survived every single tribal council of the entire season without getting voted out, and she ended up winning the game because she was the true sole survivor. But I don't think she's really made any great moves this whole time. I mean, even that time, remember she was talking to Adam and she thought she might tell Parvati about her idol or something, and I don't know, and when she got Sandra out, I thought that was so dumb, and I know I keep saying that, but I still think that was a really bad move. I think that she should have worked with Sandra and not voted her out, especially so early in the game, and I'm just surprised that Denise is still there. But when you win individual immunities, you can't go anywhere, so that's that. Now, Ben finds an idol while he's searching. Everyone's idol searching, and Ben's searching with Tony. He finds an idol and tries to hide it, and Tony is standing right next to him looking right at him, and he's like, dude, I see it. He's like, come on, man, you were gonna try to hide it from me? Like, I told you about my idol. So, and Ben's like, don't get paranoid, Tony, you know, and Tony's like, well, I'm not being paranoid. And I agree with Tony's perspective. Like, supposedly you want me to trust you, yet here you are hiding, you know, you just found an idol, you're hiding it from me, I told you about mine, we're looking together. Not really cool, right? Not super cool. And I would agree with that, especially because Ben somewhat on the bottom, right? He got blindsided last time. Tony's in power. I can see why Ben would want to hide it from him, but he was right there, right next to him. It was a questionable move at best. Hey, Laura. Did you watch the episode already? If not, you might not want to watch because it's going to be spoilers. So then they have the immunity challenge. And the immunity challenge is the classic band around the wrist, arm up in the air, try not to move your arm down, or the big bucket of water will dump all over you. And they added, so originally it was just that, and that went for 6 hours, and I think Parvati actually won that one. He didn't mention who won it, but I think it was Parvati. And then they added the plank under your feet that makes it really uncomfortable and hard to stand there. And that went for 1 hour. And this time was the hardest version of the game, where you can't support your arm with your other arm. Most of the time people would go like this and they would hold their arm up. You can't really see me, but my arm's up in the air, and I would be holding it with this one and kind of adjusting and holding, and you can't do that anymore. So this was the first time you couldn't do that anymore, and I think this one only lasted about 15 minutes. So a couple of people fell out right from the jump, and then 15 minutes in, Jeff came around with big scoops of peanut butter and chocolate chip cookies and milk, and said, if you guys step down and give up, you'll get these cookies and milk and peanut butter. So Kim steps down first, which ended up being a really, really bad move. She said she felt like she was falling, so, that's why she did it. And that's what everyone always says. And maybe that is true, right? You think you're about to fall. You can fall and get nothing, or you can bow out and get cookies and peanut butter and milk, and you haven't been eating. So, yeah, I get it, right? So Kim goes down first, then Michelle. Not goes down, they quit, right? They nominate cookies over immunity. And they go out, Kim, then Michelle, which leaves Denise to win the game because Sarah had already fallen out. So Denise wins individual immunity again. Then we have Nick and Tony as the only people left. Jeremy and Ben had already fallen out, and Nick says, Tony, will you give me a token if I bow out? And Tony says, yeah, I'll give you a token. And Nick quits. Now, Nick was part of this whole plan to blindside Tony and to get Tony out, and Tony's this huge threat, so why in the world would he not do that? I don't know. But instead he goes for cookies. He said he felt like he was falling. Again, he just wanted to get a token and some cookies out of it. Okay, right, fine. Tony said, to get an immunity necklace for 1 token is a pretty good price. I'd pay that all day, which is also really smart. Tony's doing a lot better than Nick in that strategy, I think. But anyway, fine. He gives it to him. Nick gets the token from Tony. Tony and Denise, they won. It was a male and female immunity challenge. They each won the immunity necklaces, and they each won 2 tokens each. Which again, I wrote 1. So 2, 6, 5. Okay. All right. We're almost done. So then the scrambling begins. Ben tells on Kim to Tony, and he says, listen, man, I know about your idol, you know about my idol. Well, let me also tell you that they were all trying to blindside you, and Kim was the ringleader. But we have to vote for Jeremy. We have to get Jeremy out. And Tony's like, okay, yeah, Jeremy, But then he's like, nah, we need to get Kim out, of course, because she's coming after me, so I gotta come after her. But at the same time, they were running the numbers, right? So him and Sarah are like an obvious pair. And then he said, well, if we get Jeremy out, instead of working with Jeremy, right, if we vote Jeremy out, then you have Kim, Michelle, and Denise, who are going to make a threesome, and then Ben and Nick, who are more likely to go with those 3 than they are to go with the 2, because I don't know about Sarah, but Tony's a huge threat, probably the biggest threat. So that's tricky, So they're like, we don't really want to go for Jeremy, we want to go for Kim. Tony tries to convince Ben. Ben doesn't really seem like he's budging. He's like, no, we definitely got to go for Jeremy. It's Jeremy. Tony talks to Jeremy. He says, hey, everyone's trying to vote you out. I want to get Kim out. If you can convince Ben to vote for Kim, that would be great. Me and Sarah will vote for Kim. You vote for Kim. Ben will vote for Kim. And I think we can get Nick to vote for Kim as well. And Tony at the same time is like, I don't know. Nick was kind of lying to my face about whether or not Kim brought up anything about having me out. It was an interesting interaction, right? So Nick walks up to Tony to get his token, and Tony says, hey, have you heard anyone bringing up my name? And Nick says, no. And he goes, oh, that's weird, because Ben told me that you and him were sitting there, and Kim came up and said she wanted to get me out. And Nick's like, actually, now that you mention it, I think that did happen. It was really horrible gameplay. I'm sorry, Nick, you got a token, but I don't know what's going on with you. So that did not go well. But at the same time, I think Tony said at one point, too, that he trusts Nick 100%, even though that whole thing happened. So I don't know. Apparently he did, and that was a good choice, because maybe because he's a cop, he can read people well, or something, make them uncomfortable in an interrogation setting so they tell you the truth. I don't know, maybe he's got a little Boston Rob in him, but it seems to be working out quite well for him. So, okay, I got all that. Michelle, very smartly, I think, this was one of the ways that she played, I'll say why I think Michelle played well tonight, so well. One, she needed Jeremy. So last week, there was a blindside, and her and Jeremy were basically being targeted. If that blindside didn't happen, her and Jeremy were on the chopping block. Now, Jeremy was going to get the majority of the votes, so she wasn't really going to be out, but she was going to get a couple votes. And that means that Kim and Denise flipped on her, and everyone else was already against her, so it's really just her and Jeremy. And she said, Jeremy's been like my only family out here. And in a way, I mean, they're very bonded by that, even that experience just last week. So she doesn't want Jeremy to go, because then she feels like, she could definitely be next. I don't know if that's the case, because I think people underestimate Michelle. I underestimated Michelle for the beginning part of this season, and I will definitely take that back, because she's playing this game really well. So she said, Jeremy, everyone's voting for you. I'm going to have to put your name down, because everybody's putting your name down, and I'm just going with the flow, or I'm going with the numbers. There's really no way we can get numbers to change that. But what I can do is I can give you my advantage. It's a 50-50 immunity idol. So you flip it. If it lands heads, you're safe. If it lands tails, you're not safe. So it's a 50-50 chance of being useful as an immunity idol. It's the only thing I have to offer you. I hope that it works. You should definitely play it tonight, because you're getting a lot of votes and you're going home if you don't play it. And maybe you're going home anyway, but at least you have that chance, So I thought that was really smart, because she still gets to say, yeah, I was along with everyone. I didn't know he had that. That was his advantage. She didn't know about that. She's innocent. She's, not a part of this. And then it got even better after that, but that's fine. So then I had written this down. Jeremy tried to change Ben's mind too, and he's like, he still won't talk to me, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like a lot of that's just TV. It seemed to me that Ben was like, okay, yeah, we should go for Kim. Because now he was hearing it from Jeremy, who he kind of viewed, I think Jeremy was working with Kim, and Kim flipped on Jeremy last week. She's trying to get Tony out this week. Ben's kind of like, okay, everybody wants Kim out. Kim's a big threat too. I mean, maybe Jeremy's a big threat. I don't really see that. But Tony's a huge threat. He won individual immunity. So Kim's a good next choice, in my opinion. So I think that was a pretty good choice. I like Kim, and I thought she was playing really well. But when you play really well, you get targeted, So the votes come out. Crazy tribal council, as it always is. Whisper, whisper, whisper. Jeremy tries to talk to Denise, and she puts her hand in his face. No, I'm done. No, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm ready to vote. And Jeremy goes, are you sure about that? Are you sure you want to do that? And she's like, yeah, I'm sure. Because she is completely convinced that everyone's voting for Jeremy, and this is all for naught, and this is all crazy paranoia, chaos, and it's stupid, and Jeremy's going home anyway. Probably not her best game decision thus far, because the votes come out. Jeremy does get 3 votes. There's 8 people. The other 5 votes go for Kim, and Kim gets voted out. So if we go down, where is Kim? Oh, there she is. Go here. Oh, hang on. Clicking buttons. Oh, it's not quite lined up, but it's close enough for me. This way? Oh, whatever, it's good enough. Okay. So Kim gets voted out. She's gone. Sorry, Kim. Love you, girl. And Jeremy lives another day. Again, that's like 3 tribal councils in a row where he was pretty close to leaving and did not leave. And now Denise had that chance to kind of like be in cahoots with him. She put her hand up in his face. It totally blew him off. I was like, no, I'm voting for you. Like, ugh. Because her and Jeremy she used an idol for him before. Like, it's just not great. Not great. Just not great. She hasn't been playing great the whole time. Hey, John, we're just talking about Survivor. What are you up to? So, Kim had 3 tokens. When she got voted out, she gave her tokens to Sarah, Michelle, and Denise. so all the ladies left in the game. And that's the last part that I wanted to say, which is how Michelle played so well, because not only did she vote for Jeremy, but gave him a reward and then got a token out of it. You know, she basically tried to save him and then got a token out of it. Now, what ended up happening was that we already knew, right, that Sarah, Tony, Jeremy were going to vote for Kim. They convinced Ben to flip during tribal council, and they got Nick to do it as well. So they had the 5, they were good. Now, there was a lot of potential idol play here. You know, Sarah's like, well, I think they're coming out of me. The way they got into Ben's head and got him to switch to vote for Kim was in tribal council. Tony said to Ben, I think they're going for Sarah. I think they're trying to get Sarah out. So I think I'm going to play my idol for her. And then Ben's like, well, does that mean I should play my idol? Because maybe I'm like option number 2. Tony's like, and Sarah's like, well, you know, and they're all kind of, I don't know. And then Jeremy's thinking, oh, maybe I'll play my advantage. It's like this whole thing. So Tony goes to play it for Sarah. And she's like, no, it's fine, Tony. It's okay. I don't need it. He didn't even have to pull it out. So it all could have been this, like, game, but he does have one. And then Jeremy pulls his out. It's wrapped up still, and he doesn't unwrap it. And he's like, maybe, should I? I don't know. He's looking at Tony like, are you sure, man? I don't know. And then he holds it. He's like, fine, I'm not going to play it. And I'm sitting there going, Jeremy, play the darn thing. Well, it didn't matter because he didn't need to play it. So that means that now Michelle gets her reward back. I assume Jeremy's going to give it back to her advantage, which is awesome. So she got to keep her dude in the game. She got to trick everyone else to think that she's against him. She got a fire token and she got her advantage back. This girl is very sneakily playing this great game kind of undercover, and that's the perfect way to not only play Survivor, but to make it to the final 3, because people aren't really aware of how well you're playing and how big of a threat that you are, which is like, it's like the way everyone dreams of being able to play this game. It's just so amazing. So amazing. Yeah, I do live Survivor watches every other week on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Periscope only. The advantages are making it so complicated. I think it's fun. I love it. All the layers, bring it on. It's like cake. So keep in mind, Kim got voted out. She was the first one to quit for cookies. It also, you got to see the psychology of like the sheeple thing. So Kim quits, Michelle quits, Nick quits. They all just like quit. You know, it was like once one person quits, everyone else is like, okay, well, I'm not the first one to quit, so I'll quit too. Like, it's fine, you know. That also usually means that they feel pretty safe, but it also could just mean that they wanted cookies, so who knows. But remember, I think Denise is quite doomed now. Now, I've thought Denise was doomed since the Sandra move, and she's, again, her and Jeremy are like, I don't know, they're just making it through. I mean, I like Jeremy a lot more than Denise, so I don't know. I mean, I like Denise too, but I like all of the people, right? But in terms of the way that they're playing, I think Denise is not doing well. I don't know, product. I'm not sure. Yeah, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Every other Wednesday. So, like, on these Wednesdays, I have the kids, so I can't do it live because I watch it after they go to sleep. But next week, I'll do it live. I did it last week live. Hi, James. It's you. Hi, Joe. Oh, my God. Do we have the same birthday, Joe? I think that's my birthday. All right. Next week is a 2-hour-long Survivor episode. Not this, don't worry. I could probably talk about a 2-hour episode for 2 hours, but it's a 2-hour episode next week, so that's going to be really fun. That probably means 2 tribal councils, maybe even more. Maybe it means the challenge for the people on Edge of Extinction to get back into the game. I don't know. But I have a small minor complaint to make to CBS and the producers of Survivor. I know fire tokens are new to all of us, so I understand that you didn't really quite know how to track them, or, I mean, you're probably tracking them, but you forgot that, like, the audience might also want to know where everyone's at with fire tokens, and there's no rehash of this anywhere in any of these episodes so far. And we're on episode 12 out of really 14. There's really 2 episodes left, and then a reunion special, which will probably all be done on Zoom. I don't even know how it's all gonna go. Yeah, Survivor Social Distancing Edition. Exactly. I don't even know how it's going to go, the finale and everything. But regardless of that, we'll figure that out in 2 weeks. The tokens that have been won by certain people that are supposed to be exchanged, we don't always get to see if they get exchanged or how they get exchanged or for what. So it's impossible to track it. It's one thing if you want me to be really vigilant and keep track of it, which I have been doing, but it's another thing if you don't put it in the show, so therefore I can't track it. What would be ideal is if at the end of each episode, you put up basically a scorecard that told us how many tokens each person has, so we can see who's the richest and who has none to give us a feel, right? So here's my overview. They didn't tell us again this week, they didn't tell us last week or this week, if Tony paid back the people he got those 3 tokens from. So he had gotten 3 tokens for the extortion advantage from Ben, Nick, and Jeremy. Nick and Jeremy both already had 2 tokens, so they were still left with 1 token. Ben only had 1, so then he had none, but when Tony won the immunity challenge, he won 2 tokens. And he said, now I can pay back my debts, but that's not true because you borrowed 3 tokens and you won 2 tokens. I don't know what kind of banking system this is, but you can't pay back your debts 2 for 3. So I don't know who he paid back or if he paid anyone back. Because Kim said tonight, oh, Tony's got a bunch of fire tokens. He should have none. He should have -1 fire token. I don't understand. He won 2 fire tokens today because he told Nick he would give him one of them. We know he gave him 1. So then, as far as I know, he should still have pretty much 0 because he had to pay back 3 people before he only got 2. So he still had 1 debt outstanding. Then he won 2 today, but he had already told Nick he would give him 1 to step down. So then he should have paid off his debt and he should have 0. But we have no idea how many he has. So I'm thinking, it seems to me like he has at least the 1 from tonight. For all I know, he could have 3. Okay, he has 1, maybe 2, maybe 3. Maybe 0. Who the heck knows how many tokens Tony has? Thank you. So that leads us to the next conundrum, where we don't know how many tokens Nick or Jeremy or Ben have, because we don't know if he paid any of them back and who he paid back. So we know that Nick and Jeremy each had 1 anyway, because they only gave Tony 1, and they didn't use the other ones for anything else. So they either have 1 or they have 2, because Tony paid them back or didn't pay them back. Ben either has 0 or he has 1 because Tony either paid him back or didn't pay him back. We don't really know. The question is, where do they hold all these tokens all day? # butt stuff. I don't know, man. I don't know. We do know that the richest person that's still in the game, okay, this doesn't include Edge of Extinction, the people who are still in the game, the richest person is hands down absolutely Denise. So, I don't know, maybe she is playing this amazing game. People keep giving her their tokens when they get out of the game, so she's doing something right, that's for sure. Something we're not seeing in the edits. So, Denise had 3. Wait, Denise had 3. Then she won immunity tonight, so she got 2 more. Then she got 1 from Kim, so now she actually has 6. She has 6. This is not very clear. I'm going to look at this next week and be like, what the hell is this? 6. So she has 6, so she's the richest in the game. Denise was given 2 immunity idols too? What do you mean she was given 2 immunity idols? She got 1 from Sandra. Who'd she get the other one from? Tokens will be redeemed at the end for gift shop items. It's a little bit unclear what they could be used for in game. In the beginning, there was like food. They could buy food and a tarp, all this stuff, but they just never really did. Like, it didn't seem like they bought a tarp. They didn't. I don't know. They didn't spend it on anything. I think fishing gear and stuff. I don't know. They didn't though. Sandra and Sarah. Sarah never had an idol. I don't think. Sarah had a steal a vote advantage. Did Sarah have an idol at one point? That she gave to Denise? That doesn't make any sense. Sarah and Denise have never really been on the same side. I don't believe. I don't remember this. Alright. So Kim had 3, now she has none. Because she got voted out, so she had to give her 3 away. Michelle had none. Now she has 1 because she got 1 from Kim. Hey Beckham, how are you? How have you been? Sarah had 2 because she got 1 from Sophie. And then she got another 1 from Kim. So now she has 3. So that's pretty good. 3 is a good number. So we have 6 and 3. Those are like the top ones. The ladies. So we have Denise with 6. We have Sarah with 3, and then the rest is question marks, like between 0 and 3 for the rest of the people. I'm good. I'm really, really good. Thank you for asking. Then we get to the confusion on Edge of Extinction. So Edge of Extinction, what we know for sure is that Rob, Amber, Ethan, and Adam all have 0. None of them won the challenge tonight, and they already had 0 before. I agree with that, James. I like that a lot, actually. So they all have 0. Then we know for a fact that Yule, Sophie, Wendell, and Tyson all have 2 because they all won 2 tokens tonight and they had 0 before. The rest are question marks, which is really just Natalie, Parvati, and Danny. So Natalie has the 2 from tonight, and then unclear as to how many she got from the extortion advantage, because Tony paid 6 tokens to someone. We don't know where those went. Natalie's the one who found the advantage. Parvati was with her. Did she agree to split the tokens with Parvati for something? Did they buy any food with it? Did she keep all 6 tokens for herself? We don't know. We know she has the 2 from tonight. We have no idea how many of those 6 she has or does not have at this point. Same thing with Parvati. Did Parvati get split those 6 tokens since she was there and helped Natalie to pick who it was going to be and what price to charge or whatever? I don't know. But Parvati was also with Danny, and Parvati found the advantage when they decided to charge Michelle 4 fire tokens, and they got the 4 fire tokens from Michelle for the 50-50 advantage, and they said they told everyone about it because she said that they were going to spend it on food. But we never saw them eat. And we never saw them get the fire tokens. And we saw Michelle give them, but we never saw them get them. We never saw them split them. Danny and Parvati, I don't know. Did they spend it all on food? I don't know. We don't know. We have no idea. So Danny and I'm assuming Danny has 0. I feel like she probably has 0 because she was there when Parvati found, like, they were looking together, but in Survivor, it's whoever touches it first. It's their advantage. So Parvati touched it. She found it, so it's hers. And then she told everyone. So even though Danny was there, like, she knew first, then they told everybody about it. So then it's kind of like, I'm thinking Danny probably didn't get any tokens out of that. I'm thinking maybe Parvati didn't even really get any tokens out of that because she just bought food with it. 4 tokens worth of food? I don't know. Maybe. For everybody there, I really don't know. So, I don't know. At this point, Parvati could have somewhere between 2, but probably higher than that, 2 that she got tonight, and then maybe 5. Maybe Natalie split the 6 with her 3 and 3. I don't know, but Parvati and Natalie didn't tell anyone about the extortion advantage and the 6 tokens that they got, so everyone on Edge of Extinction knows just as much about those tokens as we do. We know a little bit more. So those are question marks, Danny, Natalie, Parvati, but I think Danny probably has 0. Natalie and Parvati are definitely the wealthiest on the island, with Parvati probably in the lead. So actually Parvati and Natalie, if Parvati spent her 4 on food, then I think they're probably tied in the amount that they have. It's close. It's close between Natalie and Parvati, so we'll see. I love how Nick negotiated taking a token to step down today. That was unexpected. I think it was dumb of Nick to give an immunity necklace away to a guy that he supposedly wanted to vote out for 1 fire token that you're just going to have to give away if you get voted out because you're not immune. And I think it was dumb for Tony to say he would do it because Tony could have been like, no, and Nick still would have fallen off. And he might have quit anyway. So he couldn't stay longer. I know. That's what I mean. So it was like, Tony could have just been like, no. I think Nick could have negotiated for 2 fire tokens and potentially got it. Because Tony was just like, yeah, man, sure. He didn't really even seem to care. So, but he could have paid no fire tokens. So, I don't know. Whatever. It was all very questionable at best. But that was Friendly Fire, episode 12 of season 40, the 20th anniversary season of Survivor. It has been on for 20 years now. The prize is for $2 million, and it's all previous winners of Survivor. That's why it's called Winners at War. Tony doing mayhem on Tribal. I know, that made me so happy. Kim was right to be paranoid, but there really wasn't anything she could do. Last 2 Tribal Tony is unbelievable. He does it right because he doesn't give people enough time and space to really think and plan and have like a plan B. He just kind of puts it on them right then and there. Like they have to make the choice then. He's very convincing and persuasive, and he's He's doing really well. He's doing really well. He better keep winning immunity challenges, though, because he's definitely the biggest target right now. Everyone's going to be gunning for him the moment that necklace isn't around his neck. But he also has an idol. So the only people... I think Sarah probably knows about the idol that he... Oh, yeah. And then he said he had it at Tribal. Now, he didn't show it, so some people might think he's pretending, because he has pretended to have idols in the past, in his past seasons. But he kind of showed his hand a little bit. So he does actually have one, so whether or not they think he does, he does. You don't get why Michelle gave her advantage. Her and Jeremy were the only two that were being voted for last week before Tony did that blindside play. So it was really Jeremy, Kim, Denise, and Michelle playing from the bottom together, trying to pull that like one person over, but Denise and Kim both flipped. So then it was really only Jeremy and Michelle left. Now, Jeremy worked out a nice deal with Tony that was able to get Sophie out. And Jeremy and Michelle are playing really well in not letting on that they're together, really. Like, they talk and hang out, but like, and she says, he's like her family out here, so maybe people are picking up on that. But like at Tribal tonight, she still voted for Jeremy. He didn't go talk to her, hey, vote for Kim, because that didn't need to happen. They had the numbers without it, and that way they didn't have to reveal their alliance there. So it was really awesome. So tonight, and I think you got here a little after this, I said Michelle played so well, because not only did she gets her advantage back, because I assume Jeremy gives her advantage back, she gets a fire token, because Kim gave her a fire token, and no one knows she's working with Jeremy, because she voted for Jeremy, even though it didn't matter, because he only got 3 votes out of 8. So, I mean, that was pretty good. Like, that was masterfully played. And I think her lie last week to Tony about how she paid all her fire tokens for an advantage on the edge, so she's telling Tony that she has an advantage to get back into the game once she goes to the edge, was a great lie. It was really well delivered. He totally believed it. He even said, she came clean to me, blah, blah, blah. I was like, and he's not an easy person to lie to. I mean, I think she's playing such a good game because everyone wants to go to the end with her. And she's playing a better game than I think any one individual player really realizes. So, I'm loving it. I'm super impressed. I'm super impressed by her. I was really super impressed by everyone, to be honest. Really, Beckham. Interesting. She'd have to be able to make a strong case for herself, yeah. I mean, ideally she would go with, I would say, Nick and Ben right now aren't really playing good games either, so. But Ben does have an idol. You don't think anyone will vote for her? I think they will. Excuse me. It depends on who she's up against. That's the problem with the dynamic of having the outside relationships. Because if you're friends with somebody, you want them to win because you may inherently kind of benefit from that. But also it's hard not to just vote for the people that you like the most, Like, you have a good friend and their kids and everything, or their health struggles or whatever, their personal life, their parents need help or something. And then you see Michelle, who's this young girl who's probably going to be able to be on Survivor probably a bunch more times if she wants to. And it would be hard to give it to Michelle when your friend really needs it and they might not get another chance, and you know what I mean? So that plays into it too, which is kind of shitty because no matter how good of a game you play, I think, last season, I think Dean played a really good game, especially towards the end, and, nobody voted for him. I'm like, dude, this guy killed it. Gameplay, great. And then Tommy wins. Tommy? I'm like, what game did Tommy even play? People just like him? So I don't like when it becomes a popularity contest, and I would like to believe that with a bunch of winners, you wouldn't end up with a popularity contest. You would have a bunch of seasoned players who respect the game, they like the game, they want good gameplay, and they're going to vote for the person who plays the best game. But, so many times I don't get the vote. Yeah, exactly. Well, it's, they're together 24/7 for 40 days, and we only get 14 hours of that. We don't even get to see into one day of that. Sometimes they do 2-hour specials, we see less than 20 hours. It's still less than one entire day. There's so much that happens there. There's so much social nuance and, connections and relationships that we just don't see. And there's so much gameplay that we don't see, Yul was writing these really awesome, breakdowns after the first episode. He wrote this really awesome breakdown of everything that was going on kind of behind the scenes and these things that you didn't really get to see, but here was what they were planning and all this stuff. But then I think CBS basically asked him not to do that anymore because it was like potential for spoilers. Sandra winning over Russell and Parvati, for me, that was a joke. She did not win Parvati over. Parvati told Russell that Sandra was going to win. She said, Parvati was like, are you dumb? Like, Sandra will beat us. And Russell's like, no, she hasn't done anything. She hasn't won anything, you know. You mean Sandra winning over Russell and Parvati? Well, see, but that was the thing, is people hated Russell so much, and then for Parvati to so closely align herself with him, it made people not want to vote for them. I can see how that happened. I thought that might happen again this season. What was happening with that? I thought Rob and Parvati. I thought Rob was going to be the new Russell. Parvati was going to be Parvati again. And Sandra was going to win over the three of them if they made it that far in the game, which didn't happen at all, which is fine. I thought, look, Sandra's going to win again because Parvati's working with Boston Rob. Boston Rob's taking this Russell Hands type persona. And it's going to be deja vu, you know? Most shows editing have a toll on how things are portrayed too. Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's like, I mean, they probably, you know, coach them. Much of it's probably partially scripted, you know. Hi, Arturo. Yeah, Parvati played good. Yeah, but you gotta choose your alliance as well. Yeah, you gotta play to the jury too, you know. Like, if you're eating out of Russell's hand the whole time, people are going to be disgusted by you just as much as they are by him. I mean, you know, she played him a bit, but she never voted him out. I mean, she didn't play him that hard, you know, she brought him to the end. So, I mean, I think she did it as good as she could have done then. It's like now, I mean, these veteran players, it's just so hard for them to go anywhere because people just vote them out so quickly. Like, they just can't stand the idea of playing against them because they're so good. So they kind of never stood a chance, you know, in this one anyway. Adrian R. He was the perfect shield. Oh. I mean, that's how it played out, right? Is everyone hated him so much and that's all Sandra had to say was, I've been trying to get Russell out from the jump. You guys are all sitting there because Russell put you there. I didn't put you guys there except when I had to because it was me or you. And I tried to get you and you and you to help me to get Russell out. And all of you went and told Russell every time I tried to get him out. And yet still here I am. Russell brought me to the end. I have been trying to get him out the entire time, yet he brought me to the end. Like, and I'm the only one here who was anti-Russell the entire game. And everyone's like, yep, anti-Russell, I'm voting for that all day. And she didn't even have to present like this really crazy case. Sandra never really has had to do that, you know? It was always, like, back in the beginning, like Pearl Islands, it was loyalty, right, with Rupert. And that was, like, with that season, too, because Rupert was on that season as well. She's like, Rupert, I tried to work with you to get Russell out, and you went and told Russell the plan, you know? And Rupert sits there and goes, oh, my God, I'm such an idiot. Sandra's been loyal to me from the beginning. Rupert is a super loyal player. People like that loyalty. They like that look. They say, okay, I want to vote for the good person here, the person who fought the good fight the whole time. We're humans, you know what I mean? You have to appeal to that sense of, like, wanting to do what's right and wanting to put the money in the hands of the person who was trying to get out the evil guy, you know? And they viewed Parvati as the evil side chick, you know? Or evil wife or whatever. She literally said that she wanted to take him off and she couldn't do it, and they vote for her. Well, she put the buck on them, right? She's like, I can't do it by myself. I'm one vote, right? I needed you guys to vote with me, and none of you would ever vote for him. And I know you're sitting there right now wishing that you had taken me up on that offer. So you got no one to blame but yourself. You know, they feel guilty and stupid and like she was Jesus, you know, and they were the traitors. So what are they going to do now? They're going to repent. And then you're like, here's $1 million. Hey, Dutchie. How old is what? The seasons we're talking about right now are really old, but I spent a good almost hour talking about tonight's episode, which is not old. Actually, people on the West Coast only watched it a few hours ago. Raj said Tony wins. Tony is boss. I don't know. I think he's a pretty big target. He's still got to make it through, I think, 6 more tribals. Let's see. There's 7 people left in the game. They're going to have somebody from Edge of Extinction come back. Okay, so 5. There's 5 more tribals he has to make it through. So it's a lot of chances to go home for any one of them. I mean, if Tony makes it to the end, he wins. I think so. Absolutely. But I don't think he makes it to the end. I just can't see how that would be possible. Yeah, he has a huge... Everyone wants to get him out. Look at him. Look how he's playing. It's so obvious. That's why Kim was going for him. It was like an easy... It was almost too easy and too obvious. And in a way, she wanted to be able to take the credit for that play, you know, which was smart because you need something on your resume. But he played it too good. Hey, Copper. How are you, Kev? Kyle, what's up, guys? Thanks for watching on YouTube. A lot of YouTubers tonight. I agree with if he make it, he will win, but he could do it. I mean, he's never won an individual immunity before, and he won 3 in a row. I mean, the chance that he wins 8 in a row, to me, is like 0. You know what I mean? I don't think anyone's ever done that. What's the record for most individual immunities won in a row? It's probably that guy, what was that guy's name? The dude that was like crazy fisherman. He used to just like swim and eat, and he went to Edge of Extinction for a while and just like lived on the high life. You guys know what I'm talking about? Ozzy. Yeah, Ozzy. Ozzy probably holds the record. He has an idol now and can find more. That's true. He does have the idol, and he knows about Ben's. True, and he knows about Jeremy's, although he might think it's Jeremy's, not Michelle. I don't know. Hopefully Jeremy's pretty good at playing his cards close to his chest. Like, Jeremy doesn't seem to be the type who just blabs it out, you know? Joe's great at challenges, too. I don't know if I know who that is. I haven't watched every season. What is the record for most individual immunities won consecutively? Richard Hatch. Joe Ingram, yeah, I don't... Oh, Joe. Yeah. He played with Kelly like 2 seasons ago. The guy with the long hair, right? The record for consecutive individual immunity wins is shared by Colby and Terry. I don't know who Terry is. With 5 apiece. Thanks, Chris. Thank you for the super hearts, and thanks for super hearts earlier on my workout scope. I was working out, and I missed you before you took off. So thank you for the sparklies. A ton of people won 5. It looks like 2 in a row. I'm talking about consecutively. You know what I mean? So like you win this week, and then next week, and then next week, and then next week, and then next week. You actually remember Terry? Oh, who's Terry? Colby and Terry, both from early seasons. Maybe this is from 2 years ago, so unless somebody else... Ozzy had 4. Yeah, Kelly, Ozzy, Joe, and Brad had 4. You don't like Survivor? Terry's from way back. How do you know if you don't like it? Get the hell out. Don't get the hell out. Yeah, Colby and Terry. And then, yeah, so they also said that if you count tribal immunities with individual immunities, then it's Tom Westman with a 9 challenge streak. 7 tribal immunities, then 2 individuals. But we're talking individuals here. Cool. So he's on track for the record, baby. Rob won 9 in his 3 seasons. That is crazy. How many has Denise won this season? 3? I don't know, but I really have to be. I don't know if they have it like up yet somewhere, because she won it just tonight. And mainly, like, they're mainly talking about her last season when you look at her wiki fan. Alright, I gotta pee, I'm sorry. I love you guys. I hope you enjoyed this discussion and recap and review of episode 12, Friendly Fire of Survivor Season 40, the 20th year anniversary, Winners at War. Oh, Tony. Alright, Dutchie, I'll see you later. 3 or 4. I don't think she's won 4. I don't think she's been able to pull that off, but I think tonight was at least her second. I'm wondering if it's her third. But yeah, we'll see. Okay, bye. Thanks for discussing with me. I'll be live again for a little while after this because I'm going to be reading our Greeting the Day with Love mantra for the 8th day in a row, and I'm going to be telling you guys how much I love you. So if you want to be loved on, come back. I'm coming on again tonight, but I have to pee first, so I'll be live on Periscope, so make sure you're over there because I probably won't do YouTube. Okay, love you guys. Hope to see you on the next juice. This has been A Moment in Time with Taylor. Big thank you to all of you guys who make this show possible. Thank you to Roberto, Greg, Craig, and Chris, Greg and Craig, for the super hearts. I'll see you guys in a little bit. Keep it juicy. But don't forget to pee, because otherwise that could cause problems, incontinence problems. Don't forget to pee. Okay, bye.